Chris from Hockey Tutorial here. Today we're going to be going over hockey turning or tight turns on the ice. I'm going to be showing you how to do those and a couple of drills you can do to practice those. So right now we're going to look at some of the basic points to hockey turning or tight turning, as we said. I'm going to show you where you need to put your weight, what edges you're going to be using when you're going in the different directions, left and right, and how to practice this easily anytime you're on the ice. So I'm going to give you a first-person view of how your legs are going to look while you're learning the tight turns on ice or hockey turns. So just a quick talk about where your edges are going to be and which edges you're going to be using to go in the different directions, left and right. If you're going to be going to your left, you're going to need to use your outside edge on your left skate. How you do that is by leaning that way on your left leg or skate. That's using the outside edge on the left skate, and you're going to be using the inside edge on your right skate, which you get by leaning that way, as you can see there. The next part, a good way to learn the tight turns going to the left, is allow your left skate to drift out slightly before bending your knees, as you can see there, and leaning on the correct edges, like so. So I'll go over that again. If you're going to be turning to your left, you'll be using the outside edge on your left skate, which you do by leaning that way, and the inside edge on your right skate by leaning that way, as you can see there. The next bit is to make sure your knees are bent, as you can see there, and then allow your left skate to drift out in front of the right one, like so. So I'm going to show you from the front view how your legs are going to look and your skates if you're going to be turning to the left. So as we said in the first-person view clip, that you're going to need to have the right edges. If you're going to be turning to your left, which is that way there, you need to use the outside edge on your left skate, and you do that by leaning that way, as you can see there, and the inside edge on your right skate by leaning that way. You need to remember to bend your knees while you're doing this as well, and as we said, you need to allow your left leg or skate to slightly drift forward, so you're in this kind of position. I'll show you what that looks like while I'm moving very slowly. So as the previous clip showed you, you need to have your knees bent, you need to be leaning on the correct edges, and if you're turning to the left, you need to allow the left skate to slightly drift forward in front of the right. While you're in the deep knee bend and your skates are on the correct edges, if you're traveling in a straight line at this point, you should naturally turn to the left if you're following the instructions that we've given you. At this point, you may feel as though you're going to fall over. That's why you have your knees bent quite low. It gives you a nice low center of gravity, keeping your weight well balanced and hopefully keeping you up without falling. So next, I'm just going to show you how to do the same exercise with turning to the right-hand side. We'll also include some drills that you can carry out while you've got some time on the ice to build up the technique and confidence to turn. So taking a quick look at which edges you'll be using if you're leaning to the right or turning to the right-hand side. You're going to be using your outside edge on your right skate, which looks like this. That's me leaning on the outside edge on my right skate. And as you can see, my left skate is leaning on the inside edge, which is like that. As you can see, the right skate is also slightly ahead of the left skate, as we said earlier on. It's also important to have a deep knee bend at this point, just to give you a nice low center of gravity, helping you maintain balance. So I'm just going to show you how the edges should look and what edges you're going to be using when you're turning to the right, which is that way. So as we said, it's very similar to turning to the left, except the instructions are reversed. You're going to need to be using the outside edge on your right skate and the inside edge on your left skate, which will look like this. Outside edge on right skate, leaning that way. Inside edge on left skate is that side, so I'm leaning that way. You also want to have a deep knee bend to give you a low center of gravity and allow your right skate to slightly drift out in front of the left one. I'll show you this with a bit of movement. So tight turns and hockey turning is about understanding how far you can push yourself. So it's a case of just practicing the turns slowly, picking up speed and pace. If you feel like you're going to fall while you're leaning on your edges, again, it's down to trusting your edges. You need to remember that the momentum of you moving and going forward keeps you upright as you're leaning. So you may feel as though you're going to slip out. You just have to maintain the same level while you're in the turn. Don't feel as though you have to hop out of the turn to re-establish your balance. Just stay at the same level and just slowly come out of it. Have a nice, easy transition from crouch down in the turn to standing up. Just come out smoothly and nicely. Don't try and hop out of the turn. Remember to just keep the same level. So these hockey turns or tight turns are all about trusting your edges. It's really difficult to understand how far you can push the turn until you've given it a try to see what your specific skates or your blades can manage. Also, the conditions of the ice may affect your turn. If you have soft ice, it means that you may be likely to slip out, and if the ice is too brittle and hard, it means that it might chip as you're turning and you might lose your edge. So it's a case of understanding the quality of your ice as well as being able to understand how far you can push your blades. So remember, from moving forward, lean on your edges and you'll just naturally turn in the direction that your edges are leaning towards. So as you can see right now, both of my knees are facing that way. I've got my outside edge on my left skate, inside edge on the right skate. With my left leg slightly in front of the right, automatically my body just naturally turns to the left. While you're in the turn, you may feel as though you're going to fall over. It's important to mention that the momentum of your movement is what helps to keep you upright. You just have to trust your edges and understand how far you can push them. That's why we started this tutorial from slower turns, and you just slowly work your way up to the top, understanding exactly how far you can push yourself.
It's not